Hi, and welcome to episode 6. Behind us is the Columbia River dammed up to form Lake Roosevelt. Grand Coulee Dam, about 105 miles downriver from here, is what's holding all of this water back. We visited that on our way to Alaska this summer. This episode will take you for a little ride on the piggyback train that we did this winter in Mexico. We're going to follow Route 66 through several historic places, meet up with my brother Scott and his wife Laura, and then we're going to continue on up towards St. Louis.
And I thought it would be nice to show you some film Steve took in Alaska of the bear eating salmon right out of the river.
So we'll wrap up with that, and that'll be the end of episode 6. Hope everybody's doing fine. We just finished our caravan. We miss all the people and hope all of those of you that were traveling with us got home safely or to your next destination. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Our first trip to Mexico with Adventure Caravans took us to the Copper Canyon and a trip on the piggyback train. We had a total of 20 RVs with us on this caravan. Don and Jane Jackson were the wagon masters, and we were the tail gunners. It takes about 4 hours to load and secure the RVs. Most of the work is performed by local men and boys hired by the railroad. However, each caravan member must drive his or her rig onto the platform and over additional platforms until they reach their position on the train. Once all of the rigs are loaded, we spend the night on the siding. Then early the next morning, the train is assembled and we head out for our 3-day trip through the canyon. On our last day, we almost ran into a very recent rock slide that took out the tracks. While a work train and crew were sent up from the other side, our train had to back up about 14 miles to a siding in a small village to spend the night. Going backwards, our rig became first, so I rode in the caboose while Gloria grabbed the video camera and took some great shots. After we finished our Mexico caravan, we spent a couple of days with our friends Ben and Gay Miller in Tucson, then roughly followed Route 66 to St. Louis. Along the way, we stopped in Sedona, Arizona. Although the scenery is very impressive, it is much commercialized and everything is very expensive. We also visited Montezuma's Castle National Monument to see the remains of cliff dwellings. Along Route 66 in Arizona, we stopped at the famous Museum Club in Flagstaff, then on to Meteor Crater and Petrified Forest National Park. Here, I am talking on the corner in Winslow, Arizona. I was actually talking to our friend John Drop back in Detroit. We then headed into Gallup, New Mexico to meet up with my brother Scott and his wife Laura to spend a few days sightseeing together on our way to Las Vegas, New Mexico. The four of us took a couple of day trips, including a visit to El Morro National Park, which includes Inscription Rock. This is a well-known landmark for travelers beginning back in the late 1600s. It became a tradition to inscribe your name in a short message when passing. After Scott and Laura left us in New Mexico to return home, Gloria and I continued along Route 66 towards St. Louis. In Oklahoma, we visited the Round Barn in Arcadia. Then we spent a very nice evening and night camping at the Will Rogers birthplace. Although there were no other campers, we were visited by several of the farm's residents. The next day, we visited the house and then went into Claremore to tour the Will Rogers Memorial. We spent several hours here and still did not cover everything.
Hey, you guys! Hey! Alan! Alan! There's a bear!
This summer, we returned to Alaska's Tail Gunners on a 58-day caravan. We normally have little time to videotape due to our staff responsibilities. Nevertheless, I pulled out the video camera for our visit to Hyder, Alaska. Here the bears come from miles around during the salmon runs to fatten up for the long winter ahead.